Hey, I'm Brett. I'm here with Kayla. We're recording Fenceline Conversations, and today's guest I think you're really going to like. Carolyn, we'll get to her really quickly here, but just wanted to kind of hit a highlight for me is they've been doing something in their business plan that is, not only are they doing it the right thing, but they're doing it really well. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that, Kayla? Listening to her, what stood out to you?
Yeah, I think that we have seen that succession planning is necessary, is needed, especially in family business if you want it to continue on. But what stuck out to me is that they're handing it over early. They laid it out really well, and now they're handing it over early. And I think it's going to make the biggest difference for them, and I think it's something that we can all learn from.
I think so too, and I think just talking to her, listening to her when you hear her here in a minute, you'll see that there's a happiness. I don't know if that's the right terminology or not, but she's pretty content with where she's at. I mean, she's like they've made some good decisions, and it shows on her demeanor and her outlook. You know, there's no animosity there. There's nothing that would be a hindrance to that business or what they're doing with guests. I mean, they need to be up for those guests.
Well, it speaks to one of the other things she said, which is disconnect to reconnect.
Let's get to it and let you meet Carolyn.
I'm sitting here with Carolyn Stimmel for today you're from Texas, right?
Correct.
And also have a place near Kelly, Wyoming, right?
Yep, Red Rock Ranch. It's outside of Jackson, Wyoming. We're in the Upper Grovant. In Kelly, Wyoming is our post office box.
Okay. And that's a family-run business. You call it guest ranch, right?
Well, technically we call it a dude ranch.
Okay.
So in the 1920s, that was what it was called when you had people out to your ranch, a dude ranch. And but yes, dude/guest ranch. It's all the same.
You shared with me one time before that your dad actually bought the place and moved everything in the cabins and all that in. Is that right? Mm-hmm. What year about? Do you remember?
So yeah, in 1974, my dad signed. Well, he was on property. And in the winter, you have to snow machine in and out of the ranch.
Yeah.
And he was there to sign to get, the property. 70, 71, and 72, we had gone to a dude ranch in that area. The owner had passed away. And mind you, we were dudes at a dude ranch. And why my parents decided to buy a ranch and create their own dude ranch is still a little bit of a mystery to me. And yet I don't try to ponder on that too much because it's always a lot of work and something to do, and it's a lifestyle.
Sure. Did you feel like, were you raised there? Did you feel like you had some childhood there, or?
It was always a seasonal business. So we grew up north of Chicago. So when I say we were dudes, we were truly dudes. And what's interesting is we could have gone to a different ranch in the area. The ranch we went to, went under, got sold back to the park. And but they had it in their minds because they had loved what it had created for their family and the families they met. And my dad saw an advertisement in the Wall Street Journal for the Red Rock Ranch, and his vision and the previous owner's vision, Mosley from California, it aligned. And my parents really wanted to preserve the land and share it with people.
Did you say what year that was?
1974.
1974. I know that you were married. You married Harley, and were kind of out doing your own thing when your dad approached you about possibly taking that back over or coming in as however that worked.
Right. Well, in 74, actually, I was 9, so I grew up, and the ranch started getting developed. Cabins were moved in, and their vision took 3 years to come to fruition where we could host people. So, they were the visionaries. There was some infrastructure, but they had to expand upon, say, the lodge or the kitchen and the cabins. But saw a lot of that growth, and then that was always my first job. My first job was, I was the cook. At 13 years old, I didn't even know how to cook anything.
Oh, man.
On a pack trip. But, typical, you just learn while you're on the spot, and you just have to have a willing heart, and I just wanted to do things and learn things, and it was so fun to go back to Chicago. Well, actually, I was always sad to go back, but the experiences I had always gained over the summer were life experiences, and people always let me go beyond what I could do, but they helped cultivate me.
I think that really lends itself to making you step up a little bit, because you feel like maybe that they have an expectation that you can do it, and you're in your mind thinking, there's no way I can do that, but they think I can, so I'm going to try the best I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember learning how to drive the swather, which was fun until you broke down.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work, but I knew, like, my friends didn't have experiences like that, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, you do. You get exposed to a lot of things you never would have.
So what year when did the transition start to take place?
Well, my dad's old school. So in 2017, my father passed away, and he had prepared Harley, my husband, and I for the transition, and yet he hadn't prepared us in the sense. He just said, everything's taken care of, everything's going to be fine. And he did. He handed us a gem. But when somebody hands you the reins, it's a huge responsibility. Mm. And we had to learn a lot of things, but so many things were already set up and in place. And we had just celebrated our 52nd year. Yeah. So anyways, he handed us, we inherited it, and yet it was a lot of learning too.
I was there about 2 years ago, probably, maybe 3. You were gracious enough to host my daughter and I, and we got to come out and kind of hang out with the wranglers and the cook and everybody and help out a little bit, but we got to experience it as well. And I was blown away. I had never been to a dude ranch before. I had no idea what to expect. I thought it would be, we're going to put people on horses and they're just going to be old plugs that go out, and that wasn't the case at all. I had a really good time. Like I met a lot of really cool, interesting people, your guests that were there, mm-hmm. and your wranglers. I was really surprised by the amount of buy-in or autonomy that you gave your team. Like to me, they felt like they could make decisions without going to you and having, asking like that. Like you were, like they almost had as much, and I'm sure this isn't the case exactly, but they almost had as much authority to say something about their particular area, like their head wrangler, who's going to ride what horse, what saddle they're going to use, and this, that, and the other. That's something that's really hard to give up. Like that's really giving up a lot of authority for me to just allow someone to do that. Was that natural for you guys, or?
Well, what we've learned over the years, so these are seasonal workers, and head wrangler though usually is 5 months, just because of the season and getting ready and postseason. But yeah, it's really, really important that people. Well, first of all, we're in hospitality, and we're in a beautiful Western setting, and these are typically young college-age kids, but we want them to be an extension of our family. So when you are on a 2.5-hour ride or longer, we expect our wranglers to talk to you. For instance, we're in Bridger-Teton National Forest, and that's the second largest national forest in the lower 48. And the amount of habitat and wildlife and geography, it doesn't end. So we want our people to speak intelligently somewhat to that. And then it's so fun, like, yeah, you might get a geologist out there that just explains everything to you, and you think, whoa, where have you been? And then we'll have a biologist come up to study the river or whatever situation. And so we always tap into people that know things. But yeah, it's really important that our staff can speak intelligently and yet honor the fact that it's your vacation. And of course, with, you know, world events and politics and whatever else is going on, you know, we have to explain to them, don't engage in those kind of conversations. People, they deal with that at home, but they want to know who the owners are, how long have they owned this ranch, you know, how big is this property. But it's really fun, and we create a big family, and we have Saturday night really is our only night off, and we allow our staff obviously to go to town, but typically we have a cookout area we've created for them. We call it our brand, one of our brands is the bar Lazy U. So we meet at the Lazy U because it's a bar. Anyways, it's just a really fun place to have everybody congregate, you know, debrief. And yeah, we're in hospitality, so we have to be, you know, careful.
Was your dad that way? Is that how he ran?
No, it's interesting. So my parents, they were and loved this sense of a vacation where they met people, and they were, my mother loved the West. She just thought it was magical. My dad loved to fish. And so Red Rock Ranch in Kelly, Wyoming just has all of this. We have 2.5 miles of private stream, and that checked the box for my dad. We have the most beautiful views of mountains, snow-capped mountains, and it doesn't take much. You can ride up on a little bluff over here or there, and there's the Tetons. So it's breathtaking. And what's so fun is when people get out and you've talked to them on the phone, and you know, you've helped them understand where we are and how remote we are. They get there and they're like, wow, your pictures don't do anything. This is way better than we thought. It is so beautiful.
Is that by design? I mean, do you try to under-promise and over-deliver, or is that just hard to get that in a photo?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
But when you do wow people with that, it makes you stand up a little straighter, and it makes you appreciate our Creator, because it is God's country.
Sure. I'm a gun buff, and one of the nights we were there, you had a guy in period gear, showing off a flintlock, and a lot of things that I didn't know. I mean, I've shot flintlocks. I built one from scratch, but the things that he was telling about oilcloth and how they got a fire starter with the flint and different things like that, I had never seen anything like that before. And we got to experience that with him doing it right there in front of us. Are those people that you've known, or how do you, I'm not asking you about trade secrets, but how do you come up with people like that?
Well, I'm so glad you remember that, Brent. That was, call that speaker series. And so we try to bring in somebody that can educate you. And that was back to my dad's time. And usually Monday night is sort of a quiet night, a down night. My husband, Harley, we need to credit him with, that gentleman's name was Steve. And unfortunately, he had a stroke, so he was no longer able to do that. I had no idea about gunpowder and keeping it dry.
Yeah.
We know that if we can help you understand, you know, the geology of the area, or, you know, everybody wants to know about wolves now, and that's a big topic. And so we bring people in and talk, and it's really fun that our guests learn something. It's part of their experience, and you know, we're all really busy, we're all connected to our devices, and at Red Rock Ranch we have good internet in the lodge and in the office, and we have it for our staff, and it's a little bit of a learning curve at first for people to step away and unplug. So we say disconnect to reconnect.
Yeah, I can see it, and that was a big part of the relaxation that I felt when I was there. You pick up rhythms when you go places, and everything has a rhythm. It can be fast, it can be slow. That was slow paced, relaxed, I would say. And you're able to, you know, you could do elect to do as much as you wanted to or as little as you wanted to during the day. And the cabins were nice. I mean, you could sit on the porch of the cabin, read a book if you want to, and just watch that river flowing down through there, and the sun coming up and going down on those ridges. Just a really, really pretty place. What did it look like in the beginning versus what it looks like now? And not necessarily just in a picturesque sense, but business-wise or otherwise. What's one thing that just by simply staying with it that you feel like you've kind of come out on the other side maybe, and it's maybe profitable or rewarding, or some sense that staying with it actually helped you get to this point?
It's a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, keeping the vision in the forefront and remembering where we're going. And it shocked us when my dad passed away, and yet we knew that day was coming. And yet it took a good 2 years to learn to operate as if it was okay to do it our way now.
Oh, yeah.
Because we always did it Pops's way. And it just took a minute to just feel our way through things. We felt like we got a handle on that, and then bam, here came COVID.
Oh, wow.
And that was interesting. And yet our business model changed a little bit, drastically actually. 3-night stays were very popular in 20 and 21.
Okay.
In 22, just people weren't going to travel, or if they were going to travel, whatever their situation was. But I mean, we don't get rich what we're doing, but we absolutely love what we do, and we love the land, we love what it produces. And now Harley and I are able to see our sons and their wives and their involvement. It's an amazing lifestyle.
Was there a lot of soul searching that went on during your, I would call it succession plan? Is that what you all call it? Where you go from, where you succeed your father, and
Yeah.
you come into that, and then your kids are in it.
Right.
And I know you spent a lot of time on that, and that obviously shows, because it seems like everybody gets along pretty well. Setting that up, was that hard to do?
It was, because we had no experience in that, and so you just had to figure out what worked. Maybe I'm going to try it this way. And yet our kids were still young. A couple of them were in different careers at the time. And the one, Jake, who lives there now, he and Allison and their young son Dodge, they live at the ranch now, but at that time they were just thinking about coming and working at the ranch. So, looking back, it looks like all these pieces just fit right in really nice, but no, there was some adjusting, and there was just getting away from, this is our ranch. We have permission to, I mean, it sounds easy, like, yeah, run it the way you want, but it's so easy to fall back on what has worked. And our kids are actually bringing us new challenges and ideas. And so, for instance, in the off-season, in the fall, events have become a lot bigger. Weddings, small corporate events. And we're really excited about that and growing those businesses. We're mom and pop, it's small. It's small, but people love how intricate, we could take up to 38 people. You get to know everybody that's there. We all dine together.
Yeah, yeah. That's hard to do, I think, to bring family in and have it work. But from the outside looking in, from what I could see and what little I know of you personally, it looks like it's working really well for you. In any of that, was there any time that you kind of wanted to think about quitting? Like,
oh, absolutely. or is this worth it? Or
Yeah.
you could lose your identity as a parent, a wife, now a grandmother, a mother. Yes. Just the other day, Harley and I were talking about, we need one night a week to separate from the business. Go to our home, try not to talk about the business that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
But not only do we need that for Russell and Tiana,
Yeah.
Jake and Allison. And we know that they're young, they can do it, and they'll just put their head down and come out on the other side in early September and say, wow, that was a lot of work. But we know that it is such a opportunity for us to lead by example. So we haven't even presented them with this yet, but what we want to do is say, you pick one night a month, and that is your night. We will babysit, we will do your job, whatever's required of you. And you know, it just sounds so easy and simple, but you give so much of your time and effort when the guests arrive on Sunday to when they depart on Saturday. Then you flip, you clean the cabins, doctor the horses, whatever needs to be done, and get a little rest in between. Go to the bar lazy you and have a little bit of fun. And you it's their first experience at that ranch that next week, or their first time that summer. So you've got to have that smiley face back on and that energy. And but it is a young person's dream. But Harley and I still love it, and we love our family, and we just appreciate being around and them being around us.
It's a big commitment.
It's a
I mean,
huge
time
commitment
for sure. I mean, if farmers and ranchers that run like we run cattle pretty much for a living, you know, there's a lot of work that goes on with that. But it's not this much work, and I don't have to be, I don't have to be there with a smile on really, because I don't have guests coming in, and I can see that. That's really important that you have to be, you know, kind of up, because you even if you have, you know, a rough week with the previous week, the new people coming in are, you know, they want that same hospitality. So I can see where that would be a challenge. Now you, in addition to running that, you really enjoy horsemanship. It's actually where I met you.
Right.
At a Martin Black clinic near Houston, Texas.
So yes, my love has always been horses and just learning and teaching. And once I met Martin, then I really learned there's a lot to learn. And that journey's been a good 10 years now. And we host a Martin Black clinic at Red Rock. And it's interesting because we break even on those guests. Simultaneously, we'll have we call it regular paying guests at the ranch. And but I make everybody realize this is considered Carolyn's continuing education.
There you go.
And being in that part of the country in northwest Wyoming, we attract a lot of different people from the Intermountain West than I would meet down here in Texas. And it's just a pleasure and an honor to continue and to, you know people like you and invite you up to the ranch and meet Abby. And you guys showed up for a working vacation, and but it was really fun because there's always something to do on the ranch, but there's always opportunities to learn.
Yeah. And I was surprised how well your horses behaved. The head wrangler would, like I say, match them up to who was riding. And I guess we had a little bit different deal because we were coming to help, but did they send a bio in or a questionnaire? I mean, a person comes in that you've never met before.
Oh.
Did they send something like, I've ridden, I haven't ridden? Did they give you a little bit of background?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We ask a lot of questions, and what's interesting is people tend to overestimate their riding ability, and most people are probably whatever discipline they ride in is just not mountain riding. And so, for instance, our orientation ride on Monday morning, it's the same loop ride, but we stagger it, so not everybody's on the same trail. And we always have two wranglers on, one in leading and one behind. But people don't realize going up or coming down, you know, and the horse's shoulders moving this way, or, you know, it's a different ride. And so it's very important that we match you correctly. And that's a very stressful job. And
I would imagine. Yeah.
And then to have the horses, you know, right on for the next week. And some of our horses, they can't go every week. We have to rest them. And it's our kids' horses. Our kids' riding program starts at 6 and older. And some 6-year-olds are just tiny. And they're peanuts up there. And, the horse shakes and they might even come off.
Yeah.
And yet, people come to Wyoming for the experience. Well, what we like to say is you're coming, we can, take you on a beautiful mountain trail ride if that's what you want. We have hiking and we have fishing, but we're an authentic ranch. I mean, we put up hay and we try to stick to, being a ranch and not get all caught up in, the latest and greatest, like zip lining, tennis court. Mm-mm. But I will tell you a funny story about pickleball. So in 1983, my dad had been in Washington State. He was also a big golfer. Anyways, he had met some guys and he discovered pickleball in 1983. So that was our first court. And we've had 3 since.
Yeah.
But that's about as resorty as we get.
Yeah. Well, I think that shines through the authenticity of the ranch. And you and Harley. I mean, you guys, you look the part. And you're a really good rider. I remember the first time I saw you ride, your position in the saddle and it shows. And so, I could easily be intimidated by, trying to come out there and ride in front of you, I think, because it'd be like, oh gosh, I'm not near that good of a rider. But I think that's really good for your guests because they get to really feel like they're experiencing the real deal. I think that's important. What's maybe some unseen work that you had to do or that you do now that's not really at the forefront that has to be done to kind of keep the place going? I know one thing, and you mentioned, is you're not open year round, but someone has to live there year round. Is that right?
Jake and Allison live there year round. We closed down all the cabins. The original part of the cabin was built in 1926. We've added on a modern bathroom, so to speak, but all the cabins will be shut down. The lodge has a fire suppressant system that has to legally stay on all winter, so we just turn it down low. And just being on property, just presence, there's people, we're off the beaten path, but we actually have a snow machine tour company that will come in and use our staff room for lunch, do a hot lunch in there. They're on their own. And then we also winter 40 head of horses there at the ranch.
Oh, okay.
And that'll take up most of Jake's day. And he's a wonderful horseman, loves horses, and he taught, through actually a good friend of Martin's, Jay Hogan, who feeds elk further up the road in the winter, taught Jake how to drive a team. So Jake now feeds on the sleigh in the winter, and it's a labor of love. But he'll tie a colt up to the back of the sleigh, load the sleigh with 30 bales of hay, trot down, feed the horses, secure the team, ride the colt. So he embraces that lifestyle, and we're very fortunate because he's young and capable.
That's really cool. I've seen pictures, I've seen people put little videos on of that, but I've never experienced it, especially not on a sleigh.
Yeah.
Now are you doing big square bales or small square bales?
Yes, we put up small square bales.
So
and,
the two string or 2-wire?
Correct.
Yeah.
They're about 75 pounds.
So they're handling those by hand?
Yep, and you have to load it.
Yeah. Well, you have to haul them in first. Haul them into the barn when you're putting up hay.
The cool thing too is, or what I learned Harley and I spent the month of January out there, and boy, is it quiet. We had forgotten how quiet. I mean, you could hear pressure in your ear practically. And the sleigh, he has it situated so he can still hook the team up to a hitch rail, and the sleigh is just off maybe a 45-degree angle. But he has to take this huge crowbar and loosen the runners.
Frozen down, yeah.
He goes, yeah, don't forget to do that, Mom, because
Yeah.
they'll pull and it won't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forget.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's That's, Martin was talking about that today. You don't realize what you don't know until you get in a situation, and then you don't, it's like, wow, they pulled fine for him, but they won't move it for me,
Right.
Huh, that's interesting. What's something maybe you figured out the hard way that you wish you would have known earlier?
That's a good question. What comes to mind is working with our staff and amongst our staff, they're going to make mistakes. How we approach that is critical. You could take the desire to continue working if you come down on them too hard. And I have unfortunately done that, and I have learned that it's a learning experience for them. And if we handle it correctly, it's a growth opportunity. We want that culture of, well, first of all, we want to be safe. So if something is not safe, whatever the situation is, anybody and everybody can speak up. And I might put somebody in an unsafe position and not realize it. But what's interesting is the more we work with the young people and allow them the freedom, the more they want to know more about us and work for us and be a part of us.
So it's a positive response.
Yeah, but I've learned that you don't just cut them in two, and I've learned that that's not a fun way to do it, and that's happened to me and growing up on the ranch too. And but I feel like we've really changed that, and we have people that have rearranged their internships, or they have stretched them out. If we could just sign off on this and we'll come back and work for you. And it's a wonderful experience for them as it is for us.
I think I would do it if I had the opportunity. I mean, it's a...
Well, let's get your application in, Beth.
Well, it's just the experience, because, I mean, to get to live that for 3 or 4 months, whatever it is, I mean, that's something that very few people get to experience, I think.
Very much so. And we have a great culture of alum, so to speak, that come back or have met and married or whatever they've done, and they come back and explain that to us. And then when you realize you are a part of a way bigger picture, you're part of forming who they are and moving forward.
Yeah, I think the week we were there, you had a guy with his whole family there, from Texas, I believe, and I talked to him several times. We had a lot of times where we could commingle with the guests, and I had dinner with him one night, and I can't remember how many times he told me they'd been there, but he'd been coming there for a long time, like it was an annual tradition, mm-hmm. I think. Yeah. And that says a lot, probably started maybe with your dad, and then coming there, and since you and Harley have taken over.
Well, when my dad and mom started it, they bought it in 74. 76, they were ready to take soft guests, meaning their friends
sure.
and friends of friends. And that I always thought that was funny, because my dad would, be at the golf club and talk to Jim and Bob and say, "Come on, bring your families." And we had no schedule, But anyways, no, we're a whole different animal now.
Were there horses? Did you always have horses there for guests to ride?
Yes.
Even in the early days?
Yes.
And did he hire a wrangler to because your dad obviously wouldn't.
My dad was a businessman, and he actually ran cattle. Until 1984, they had cattle, and the BLM permit ran 850 pairs up in the mountains, and then in the fall they would get shipped to Riverton, Wyoming. But the cattle were making money, not the guests. But he ultimately wanted to do, the guests. So the cattle phased out, and then, but anyways, yeah, that's.
How was that for him, like not knowing? Did he have some really good people around him to handle the horses and that part of it and make sure they were ready for?
Yes, he had general managers, several. I can think back on, we've had several over the years, but there was some hand-holding for sure, just the building alone. Talk about construction and backhoes and
Oh, yeah.
poles and septics and, bringing those cabins in from town. And it looked like it was a construction zone. I mean, there was a lot going on.
Is there a lot of oversight there still? I mean, from government or authorities, whoever, to make sure that you're doing things to code or not?
Oh, yeah,
damage or
definitely. The original pool, I don't even know when that was put in, but it was just put in and it was strategically put over, to the side, and it was wonderful. And then health inspector, the food.
Food and drug guy?
Yeah, he inspects. He comes up and he's like, "Well, I got to go check your pool. You don't have a fence around your pool." And I remember my dad telling him, "Well, there's a fence around the ranch."
Yeah.
So, we just learned things like that. And then by the time we built our second pool, of course, there was a fence around. And then 2 years ago, we condemned the pool because we just get so many earthquakes, and and not so many, but enough to where it cracks the foundation. And to put in a new pool that would only be used, I mean, we did the math on it, and it just wouldn't be used but 2 months of the year. So we decided we'd condemn the pool. We put up a really big, tactfully nice-looking playground, like you would see at a major city. And we put that right off of the saloon's back entrance. The parents can sit outside, watch their kids. We can square dance over here in the gazebo. And what's interesting is we thought it was going to be a minus that we didn't offer our guests a pool. And, we have a hot tub and we can cold plunge. And people say, whatever, we swim all the time at home. We didn't come here to swim. And that helps you realign and go forward with a decision you've made, because, a $500,000 pool would have been, it wouldn't have worked. I mean, there's just no way.
Return on investment wouldn't have been there, and they
ROI, my husband told me, was not happening.
Yeah, and they didn't need it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yet you think that's what you need to offer.
Yeah.
But they want you to have that horse or that hike or that experience.
Yeah.
That's what they're after.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting that you've learned that, I think, because you're learning what your customers expect when they go there, and trying to take your expectations of what they expect out of it.
Now, I'll tell you what they don't like is mice in their cabins.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big one. And we do the best we can, and we encourage people to put their snacks in little totes. But, you're out in the...
Yeah. Well, the cabins are old. I mean, they were moved in, right?
Correct. And they shift and settle. And
Yeah.
yeah, we try our best. But anyways, we'll hear about the mouse here
Yeah.
and there. And
So old is not a good word. I mean, they're authentic. I mean, they're real cabins.
They are.
That's the deal. And I was pretty impressed by that, actually.
I know. And again, we think, we should tear them down and put up a nice modern this and that. And then you keep hearing how people appreciate,
Yeah.
this authentic cabin built in 1926. And then you think, well, yeah, I mean, that is true. That's what they want. Now, they want clean sheets, obviously, and nice towels. And, we in our food, we really make a big effort to get you good food, because you can go to town, but it's quite a drive. So we want you to be at the ranch, be self-contained, and be comfortable.
And I think that's part of the experience too. Is not they don't have to go to town. They don't have to figure, what are we gonna do for dinner tonight. They don't have to figure out what they're gonna do the next day. And the food was excellent. I would have to say I can attest to that.
Good.
And I have eaten a lot of food, so I.
And you're a foodie.
There
yeah,
you go. There you
know
go.
your cinnamon rolls.
So yeah, and my daughter was able to help in the kitchen, so she learned us some knife skills and a few things like that
Isn't
from
that
the chef.
fun?
Yeah.
I love that.
For Harley and Carolyn, where are you going from here? What's next on the agenda to conquer?
Well, we were talking just before this. So Harley and I have just done a formal succession plan through Ranching for Profit.
Oh yeah.
And what we're learning is sooner is better. And so we're just scratching the surface on. We've interviewed our 4 sons and their wives just to take a pulse. And like our youngest son, Joe, he's in the Navy. So right now, the ranch made him who he was, and yet he's got a career. And yet we really want to have a place for him if someday he would like to come back and be a part of the ranch. Our vision is our vision, and yet we want our kids to move forward with how they see the ranch and have the freedom to do that. So we don't know exactly how that's all going to play out, but succession planning is important. And Harley and I, on paper, as owners, we might not be down as long as some of as my dad was, or our kids will be, and yet that's okay, because they need the freedom to move ahead. Now, if they want to run it as a private ranch, that's their business, but we just have to figure it all out. We need a lot of good help on that, but we're excited to slow down and to still be consultants and be a part of the ranch and be up there in the summer, but to let them have the reins, so to speak. And that'll be a big one.
So ranching for profit, I'm familiar with the side of, and I think it's a different thing maybe than what you went through. I'm familiar with more of the side of running a ranch, running like a cow-calf ranch, and running profit centers and things like that. But you went through a succession planning, was it, or is that the same thing?
Well, it was through ranching for profit, and mind you, Harley went and they said, well, you're the first dude ranch that has come here.
Oh, okay.
Most people come as producers of cattle or farmers. But at the end of the day, we have a business on land that we want to preserve and move forward.
Okay.
By the 4th generation, a piece of property, a ranch such as ours, or a cattle ranch or a farm, the statistics by the 4th generation of it not continuing on is more than half.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So we were given a gem, and we were given permission. We want to even give that permission sooner.
That's admirable. I've been around the production side ranching all my life, and most people never do that. It's I think it's too, they feel like it's too daunting of a task to even take on. But if you don't, it dies. I mean, that's what happens. It's gonna be passed, or the patriarch is going to, die, and there'll be nothing there, so it's sold or whatever. And they really have no say over what.
Right.
And there was a lot of wisdom maybe that was there that could have been gleaned that you guys are doing for your kids. Like, look, this works, this doesn't. We could not make this work. We thought we could, but we can't. And that's, that'll put them ahead of the game. So kudos to you guys for.
Well, kudos to my husband, because he was the one that, just the name, ranching for profit. And I'm like, yeah, don't we all do that? There's
hope so.
There's so much to this. And no, I know my dad would have been very proud of Harley for even seeking this out. And it's really opened my eyes to where we have such an opportunity to move forward, but we don't have to go to the day we die either. We can do this sooner than later. And one thing I didn't tell you about, this is really exciting, Jake, our second son that lives there, he purchased an outfitting business.
Oh, okay.
So in the fall, Red Rock Ranch now, Jake at Red Rock Ranch, hosts hunters. And he interned under the gentleman he bought the company from, and he's very good. He's learned, he's paid his dues, and Red Rock Ranch is just the place to stay. They satellite out from there, but that's a whole new industry business model for the ranch, and he's there and he loves it. And last fall when they did it, Harley stayed, at the ranch just to be doing ranch. Harley's the GM, but he said, man, I was washing a lot of dishes and doing a lot of babysitting. But that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
Yeah, family.
And,
So you've developed another profit center with that. Did that extend your season then? I mean, I know it's not the same guest, but you are doing.
Right.
Did that lengthen it some?
Oh yeah, definitely. And Jake, it's a business within the business,
Sure.
obviously. But we're happy that he wants to do that, and it just expands Red Rock's our visibility and
Yeah.
our capability of hosting people and bringing people in to whether it's hunting or doing a fall wedding or but yeah, we've got to be able to do more than just our summer season, and Jake and Allison have been really had a great vision on that.
That is succession planning, and that's paying off in them bringing another business.
It just happened so fast that we didn't really sit down and think, but you're
Hey,
absolutely
that's okay.
right.
That's all right. Let it happen as fast as it wants to.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
But all our kids are for whatever reason, very connected and love the ranch, as I grew up there and had that love, and I appreciate that. Our oldest son, Stephen, he lives in Marfa now and is working on a ranch, and he sees all their dynamics and problems and situations, and but his heart is at Red Rock, but he would like to get back into real estate, and we can only support and do so many things the way the
Sure.
business model is now, but that doesn't mean it can't grow.
Sure. So if people want to touch base with you to book a reservation, or how's the best way to do that?
Well, we have a great website, www.theredrockranch. We're in Kelly, Wyoming. Look us up. All our information's online, or you can call us. We do like to talk to you. I mean, people think of it as they want to book online, like a hotel, but we really want to talk to you. That's so important that you, Brett, understand that your cabin is not attached to the lodge, and you'll be walking back and forth, but your meals are there and your cell phone doesn't work. I mean, we just really got to let people know who we are and what we have to offer. And but yeah, we would love to talk to you.
Sure. That's close to Jackson Hole, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So Jackson is our airport.
Yeah.
We're 45 minutes due east of the airport. We're closer to the airport than to town, but we're very remote. So go figure all that out.
Yeah. Well, I've been there. I can attest to that. So, hey, thanks for sitting down with me. I kind of stole you away from the clinic on a rainy afternoon here, and with no forewarning. So
I love it.
I really appreciate your spontaneity on that, and we will talk later.
On the fence line.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, that was something. I mean, she does a super good job.
Yes.
What's one thing that stood out to you, Kayla, in the whole episode?
I mean, I think the main thing is just the succession planning, the legacy that they're creating with their business. Obviously, that's incredible, but how they're doing it, some of those pieces that she's shared, because that's something that is meaningful to me in my life and that I would like to do with my family.
Yeah, I think when she talked about the staff being like an extended family, she also said that about the guests too. Like the guests and the staff become their extended family. People show back up out there and have a wedding because they either met or they had such a great time on vacation at that ranch, and they wanted to come back there and share that, and they feel like that they're part of their family. And my experience out there for the week that I got to go, I mean, I just feel like it was an experience that you had to be there to experience, once in a lifetime chance, I think, for me. And being able to see those kids, because this staff is college age kids, and to see them be able to work with the adults, work with the kids, and get people on horses that really don't know too much about riding horses. Get them matched to the horse, get the stirrup set, take them off on
pretty darn steep hill, going up the side of the mountain over there, and a long ride, and maybe getting off for lunch, and you got to get them back on. And some people aren't really great about getting on a horse. It was something, but those kids did a super good job. I mean, they had to curate that. I mean, Harley and Carolyn had to get in there and really let those kids know that hey, you are the front, you are the face of Red Rock Ranch. When people come here and they go for a ride, you're the person they see and you're the person they talk to. So make sure your conversation is good, uplifting, and it's their vacation. She said, we want to honor the fact that it's their vacation.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, it stuck out to me whenever she said, no matter what's going on in your personal life or in our family or whatever, you have to remember that when these people show up, it's their first time here. And even if it's not, it's their vacation and they're only here for, a week?
Yep.
You can tell that they're intentional with the way that they look at the guest experience. It sounds like they're obviously intentional with who they hire and then how they train them. And I think that a lot of times in business, like as an employee myself before, it's like you get thrown into it and they're like, figure it out or make it work. And it sounds like to me that they take a much more, not a controlling, overbearing approach, but up front, they teach them, they train them, and then they let them go.
Yeah. Yeah, because she said, I think 2 or 3 times, we're in the hospitality business. Mm-hmm. And they want that to shine forth, and it really. I had never been to a guest ranch before, dude ranch. She said the official term. I didn't know what to expect. People ask me, where are you going? Well, I'm going to Wyoming to a dude ranch. What? What are you going to do? I'm going to wrangle dudes, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, so I haven't been to another to compare it. But man, I was blown away. I mean, it was a really good experience.
Yeah. I wonder if part of that comes from the fact that she said they started as dudes.
Yeah.
So they didn't start, like their intro into that world was being a guest and was on their own vacation. And I know she was just a child, but I wonder how much of that, because I think that I love learning and crafting like a customer experience, and you have to really put yourself in those people's shoes. And a lot of people, they just are too detached, or they're too in their head, they're too in their business to be able to do that well. But here, it's like they aren't enough generations removed to be away from, we don't know what it's like to be these people showing up for the first time.
Yeah, and man, they are horsemen. I mean, you watch Carolyn ride. She's an excellent rider. I don't know if she was trained in dressage, but she's, she looks really good in the saddle. And her kids, she talked about one of the boys staying there for winter, and he's got the sleigh. That they've got a team of draft horses that they pull out. I mean, that takes horsemanship. That takes some know-how, and not only know-how, but it takes a finesse to be able to get that done. And she talked about him, tying a colt to the back of that sleigh, going out to feed, tying the team up, riding the colt around, and checking all the other horses, and he's out there by himself, man. I mean, that's some grit.
That gave me goosebumps a little bit. I would love to see that. That's one of those things that I'm like, that's what I want to see on social media. All the stuff rolling around on the internet, that's what I want to see. But it's not something that's like easy to film, especially if he's out there by himself.
Sure.
But no, it, like you said, it talks to their horsemanship and just how much they know and love horses and use them, which I think speaks to the piece of it being a ranch, which she mentioned. I haven't ever been to a dude ranch either, but I think that so many of those places get resortified.
Yeah.
They just get turned into ranchy Western resorts instead of staying a ranch. And it sounds like their place that's at the core of what they do and what they want for that moving forward.
She didn't mention this, and I don't know if it's that way all the time, but the week that we went, they had cattle out there.
Yeah.
It's because they run some cattle still. And we did team penning, team sorting with the guest.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that's pretty, you didn't have to do it if you didn't want to, but they did. They've got teams, and you go in there sorting cattle. It was a blast.
That's immersive.
You're experiencing, and she talked about Martin Black's roping clinic that they have out there, you're roping. It's the real deal.
That's amazing. That's what, I guess, as someone who comes from not necessarily a ranch, but like a country background, it's like, that's what you hope that those experiences are like for people who don't live that every day or every week, and you hope that it's authentic.
Yeah. You need to put that on your bucket list.
Place
to go see her.
100%.
Yeah.
I decided that about 20 minutes into the interview.
Yeah.
I need to go to this place. I need to experience this. And speaking of that, one of the things that stuck out to me, because I felt like it caught her off guard whenever you said it, was you talked about how you would take one of those intern positions. And I know you went there for a week and did some work with them, but I got to thinking, I was like, we think about internships so much as a young person's game. And in many instances it is, because once you get into your career, you don't have time, you have kids, you have all these things. But wouldn't it be fun in retirement
Sure.
to step back into some internship opportunities and go experience things for a week, a month, 4 months at a time that you've always been curious about, you've always loved, and get to do it in a different way or at a different level? I don't know. I kind of feel like I might be putting that on my retirement bucket list, is like doing an intern.
Well, I was half kidding, but I would absolutely do it.
Yeah.
It would be a blast.
It would be. I absolutely want to go there.
Yeah.
And it was so good to just learn about their business, but just to hear about the way that they are doing this well. And even down to the fact that they're thinking about their child who has a different career right now, who likes that career, but they want him to have a place if he chooses to come back.
Yeah.
It's so like open-handed and open-armed. And I just think that specifically farm families, but also just business owners in general, could learn so much from what they've done, how they've done it, how they're navigating it.
Yeah. One thing she said that I really liked was, at the end of the day, we have a business on land that we want to preserve and move forward. Mm-hmm. And I just think there's so much insight in that. She mentioned in there, they don't want to lose sight of that vision. They know where they're going. I think it's a Zig Ziglar quote that says, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time.
Yeah.
And how cool is that, to have that, like when you get up in the morning, okay, we have a business, first thing. We're not just wrangling horses. We're not just treating whatever. We have a business. Mm-hmm. So we got to think of it like a business.
Absolutely.
And then it's on land, and we want to preserve it. We want it to move forward.
And from an outside view, it looks like the land and the business is the legacy. But that life lesson and going about your life in that way with that intention, that's almost the bigger lesson.
Sure. And I like the way she closed the interview, what we did. We'll see you on the fence line.
Yeah.
So next time.
See you there.
Right.
Thanks for spending some time with us here at Fenceline Conversations. At the end of the day, this podcast isn't really about having all the answers. It's about slowing down long enough to learn from people who have lived a little, who have worked hard, who've stayed faithful, and who keep showing up through all the ordinary and difficult parts of life. Because most of the lessons that shape us aren't learned overnight. They're uncovered little by little through everyday life, hard work, reflection, and honest conversations. Those are the Stay With It lessons. And our hope is that somewhere in these lessons, you'll find something that stays with you too. We'll see you next time.